Whoa, hold on. Look, it's open. What do you think it's in there?
No.
Okay, let's slowly open it. It's pretty dark. You can't really see anything.
So we're gonna prep our model's brows today. So first thing I want to do is just protect her brows. So I'm just putting it on a mascara wand, and that way I can run it through the brows really easily. And it's just going to distribute the product exactly where I need it. The next step requires us to use the silicone compound, and there's two parts to it, part A and part B. We always keep the two parts separate because if they touch together, that's when they solidify. You can use either ends of a spatula, or in this case, I just use a tongue depressor. So you mix equal parts of A and B. The stuff cures pretty quickly. You have about 5 minutes to work with it before it really solidifies and sets. Equal parts of A and B. And then we're gonna mix it up real good. I wanna make her eyes look hollow by making the rest of the face features kind of protrude out. So I'm going to be sculpting the brows in here, and I'm going to be giving her like a risen cheek to make kind of the rest of the face look more gaunt. Sculpted is a really great product to use not only for zombie application, but you can really do anything with it. You can sculpt out the shape and then you can slice into it, making lacerations. I found that the easiest way to sculpt bigger features like cheekbones, brows, that kind of thing, and make it look as smooth as possible is to use the biggest applicator that you could find versus using something like this. So in this next step, I'm actually just laying a bit of liquid latex around the outside of the silicone, on top of the silicone. It's just gonna make the alcohol stick a little bit better. Just like in the other tutorial, I like to rip up the sponges and make them nice and texturized. You can do so many things with liquid latex. It's a very old school product. You can layer tissue on top as well and create even more texture. Right now, I actually wanna go in first with the Total Tattoo Coverage palette. So what it is, it's actually a cream palette that once it totally sets, it is transfer proof and smudge proof. So I wanted to use this to actually block out her brows. So I am painting on the color and then sort of buffing it out, but not really beautifully blending it out. I mean, zombie skin isn't supposed to look very even. So I'm using that sponge, which I've ripped apart and, you know, created levels and texture in. So I decided that I want to give her a bit of a gash. Now the layers of liquid latex have dried. We went in with about 5 or 6 layers, and once it dries, you see it just goes all clear. What I'm doing is going in and just kind of tearing it with this spatula. You can use anything, you can even use your fingers. So next I'm going to use the Color Stay Intensifier with just some regular eyeshadow to go in and paint around her eyes. It's just going to make everything more waterproof, and it really makes the color much more vivid. This is regular black shadow without the Color Stay Intensifier. This is now the black color with the Color Stay Intensifier. I think you gotta like think about what your end product is gonna look like, and then you can think about what steps you're gonna take to bring that about. The great thing about underpainting is that you start bringing out all the contours and the dimension of the face. It looks very clowny at first because it's sort of over the top and looks more cartoony, and then afterwards what I do is I mute it down. So now I'm actually going to use the red color and some of the deeper colors in the bruise wheel to deepen up the sunken parts. It's just so much safer to use this around the eyes than alcohol. Almost as close as you can to the waterline, up onto the lash line. You don't have to go in their eye. With grease paint, you do have to set it with powder so that it doesn't move. I'm just using this deeper blue color to start accenting the contours of the eye. Just going in with some black and the Color Stay Intensifier liquid once again, and just punching up the corners even more so. It's nice to create more of a gradient so that the color doesn't look so flat. You're actually creating dimension that looks real. This palette's called Battered. It's because I want to go in and paint the red undertones again throughout the rest of the face. I'm not sure which red I want to use yet, so this is a perfect palette because it has tons of different options. You use it with either 99% alcohol, but Jordane also provides palette activator in spray form, and each of the palettes come with a little bottle dropper form. The brushes I'm using, some of them are just, you know, from the art supply store, some of them are from the dollar store. You can use whatever tools that are at your disposal. The color I'm using is Old Blood with a little bit of black just to deepen it up. If you don't have the activator, you can always use 99% alcohol to activate the color. I like to mix it right on the palette. The more alcohol you put in them, the more diluted the color. The less amount of alcohol that you put in, the more concentrated the color. So it depends on what you need it for. And now that I have the latex and the layer of cream pigment from the total tattoo coverage, I can feel free to paint on it with alcohol and it will stick. So what I've been doing right now is just kind of like testing out. You can see there's different opacities here. I'm just testing out how much I want to dilute the color. The shade that I'm using is Vein from Shades of Death palette. And I'm using these two colors here and I'm going in to start drawing the veins. Just start thinking about veins, how they branch out. They're not straight, they're kind of wiggly and kind of go all over the place. Silicone doesn't like to really take alcohol, and because we laid down that latex and also put down that cream pigment from the Total Tattoo Coverage palette, we're able to easily paint. So I'm using the same palette, but this time I'm starting to add the zombie skin color. So I'm using shades like Bile and Neglected and Pus and start mixing them kind of all up together. Always remember when you're painting skin, it's not just one color. We're going to be layering on a bunch of colors. Everything we underpainted that was a little bit too bold is becoming a little bit more muted and it's popping up from underneath. So I'm using a couple of different shades now and I'm gonna go in and do this technique called speckling. This one's a Rotter Zombie palette and I'm using the green from this one, and then I'll be using a couple of those dirty shades once again from Shades of Death. What I'm doing is I actually already sprayed the palette activator in here on the lime adjuster. I'm taking a mascara wand, I bended it so it's easy to kind of get in there. Once the color is nice and runny, I'm just dipping in the mascara wand and I'm going to tap off the excess. Using another mascara wand, I'm going to start speckling her. The other way you can do speckling is also by using a paintbrush like this. I cut it down nice and short so it's nice and dense. Make sure it's nice and diluted so that the color doesn't come on way too opaque. Now I'm continuing what I'm doing with the Muddy Dirty Tang palette. I'm just really liking these grungy colors up here, these really dirty colors. So I'm going to be mixing them and speckling those on as well. It's definitely a lot faster speckling on with a brush than it is with the mascara wand. If you want to be really specific and directional, then the mascara wand trick is great. So I'm getting that grimy skin texture that I'm really liking now. The veins are peeking through underneath and the skin's looking really dirty but really textured. A couple of the palettes actually have the color black, so we got it in the Special Effects Live palette, we got it in the Dark Drama palette, we also got it in the Muddy Dirty Tang palette. So just grab a black, alcohol activated, and we're gonna paint the lips. I just use my finger to kind of blend out the edges because you don't want it to look like lipstick. You can kind of take it outside the lips a little bit. In this next step, we just want to take a shade Plastic from Muddy Dirty Tang or Ashen from the Shades of Death palette. For this step, we don't want it to be too white, and you'll see why, because it'll look a little bit unrealistic. We're gonna make her lips look really chapped and dry looking. And on a sponge, after activating it, we can get Megan to just pucker her lips. Let it dry first. And then once she opens up the lips, it looks all cracked. So next we're gonna go in and turn Megan's pearly whites into some rotten zombie teeth. And first of all, I'm just gonna get her to start blotting her teeth out, making sure they're as dry as possible so that we can use this alcohol activated palette on her teeth. What we're using is the Tooth FX #1. You can have fun with it, kind of use a little bit of all of them and mix them around. So because Megan blotted her teeth, this is adhering on very well. You have to work quickly with this product because it dries rather quickly. So there's the color Toothless, which then makes it look like she's missing teeth. First one I'm going to be going in with is the non-edible drying blood. And this is a great blood to use when you just want to have some drips, when you want to have some effects on the actor, but you don't want the blood to move around. You just want a nice runny blood that's going to dry in place. Next, we're going to go in with the scab. This is when the blood is starting to dry. It's looking like it's scabbing up a little bit. And then this one is a little bit further down the line when the blood is coagulating and it's a little bit thicker. And this one is different from the rest because it is an edible blood. It's nice because a lot of blood, when it's too bright looking, it's a little bit too fake looking. But this blood is nice and dark, but we're just gonna go in with some scab. You can see like this blood has a little bit of a thicker texture, so you can get it into the crevices.
All of this stuff is actually really lightweight, surprisingly. Like you wouldn't expect it to be, but it just feels like there's regular makeup on.
So the grand finale is to give Megan a rinse of just a shot of the edible blood. So right now I'm just kind of fluffing out Megan's hair, making it look a little bit more messed up. If you really want to go at it, then just take a little bit of glycerin, oil serum, and you just kind of put it into the hair, or even dry shampoo, and really texturize the hair. For Megan's look, we're actually going to be using Grime, the liquid body dirt, and also in conjunction with Muddy powder body dirt. And it's really great to either use separately. Both of them are transfer proof. Once they set on the skin, they don't move. What I actually did on film day is I just kind of put it all over the fingers and on the other side of the hand, and I had the actors just rub their hands together. We used a lot of this product, body dirt, on the actors' actual clothing too, so it looked like they had been, you know, drenched in mud. You can see how crazy the opacity of this product is. You can really use it to cover up nails, make nails look extra dirty. So yeah, there we go. That's our final product without the hair. Here she is.